My name's Nathaniel Lee,
I'm Isaiah Johnson.
and this is our project for CST-361.
Alright, we're going to start by logging into a user that's already has plants registered to them. Let's start here. Alright, so when they log in, you can see that there's a graph displaying the plant data for two different plants. Right now we can only have one plant active at a time. You can disable each one to look at them individually, and then if you can see what the actual read was at certain times during the night / day. And then here we have table format. It's the same thing. It's just tells you which plant was recorded, the recording, and then what it was done. And then here we have our management page. Green means active, blue means inactive. So I can change this to inactive. I have to refresh the page to do it, but as you can see, it's switched to inactive, and then switch back to active, and it will continue to update. Right now it takes readings every 30 seconds, but that'll be changed to probably about every 15 to 30 minutes to preserve some space on the graph.
Real quick, can you go in and show the DTO in the console?
Yes. So I go to the console here. Yeah, okay, so this is the DTO that gets returned. No, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the DTO that gets returned from the REST service when the user makes, or when the program makes a call to the API to retrieve the user's plant. So this is status 0, there's no message, and it returns you an array with all the info on it. So if we switch over real fast to when it doesn't have plants registered to it, it'll tell you down here that there's no plants registered, and then if you look here, you can see that the data is empty, and then the message says plants not found, and it throws a status of -1, which is it's an exception that we have called object not found exception. So I think that's it for that, right?
Yeah.
We have an add plant button down here that's not currently working, but that'll take not too long. So where do we want to start?
Let's go with the plant REST service first.
Alright, plant REST service. Are we to go over it, or you got it?
I can go over this. So basically, it is available for both XML and JSON. We use the add inject to inject the plant business interface. Kind of working with that dependency injection. So, and then for this method, this is the create plant data. So it adds a moisture level input to the database to be tracked by the application. So it attempts to call the business service to add that data, and it'll normally respond with a successful error code if either the object is not found or some other system exception occurs. It'll throw a different response to the user. Then we have the create plant method, very similar, just creates a new plant. Yeah.
Same thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The name's a little messed up.
Yeah.
But
get plant data, also very similar, but this returns a response data model, which includes the data, message, and error code.
yeah, we'll do plant business service now.
Yeah.
We have a few methods here. We use injection here, but we were having issues with that inject annotation, so we went with EJB. Essentially, it does the same thing, from my understanding from the research that I did. So add plant data is going to take a plant moisture object, and the plant moisture object had a couple fields: its moisture level, the date that it was retrieved, and then the ID of the plant that needs to be updated. So go back here, you can see that we call find all. So we gather all of the plants, and for each one we check to see which one is the active one. And then here we're just checking to see that there is an active one, and if there's not, then we're going to say that there wasn't an active object found. And then we call the create in the plant with moisture DAO, which is right here. Create, we pass it the plant moisture object, and then we say insert into plant moisture the level, the date time, and the ID of the plant. And if it all goes smoothly, then it gets added into the data. That's the create one. We have a little printout here so that we can see every time it happens. If you look at see that it's called retrieve user plants, is almost the same thing. We call find all. This is going to have the user ID that needs to be queried, and then for each plant, check to see if the plant owner's ID is the same as the ID that was passed in, and if it is, it belongs to that user. We add it to the list. If there's no plants that were found, then we can object not found exception. Yeah, and then edit plant calls the plant DAO's update, and you pass it to plant. And let's do that one real fast. Edit plant.
It's gonna be
There you go, right here.
right there.
Update plant set, plant name, plant type, and plant active, where the ID equals whatever ID was passed in. Or actually, not the. It's going to be the plant's ID. Yeah. So that's the plant business service. What else? We update the user business as well. Oh,
You did the find user.
Yeah, so we added find user. We're gonna contact DAO, tell it to find a user, pass it the user object, and then we're gonna retrieve all of the plants. We're gonna iterate through the plants, and we're gonna see plant owner ID is equal to the ID of the. Then we add it to an array. Yeah, the user's array of plants. And then if it's not null, then we return the user. I think that's the only added, right?
Yeah, and really the only reason we had to do that is because we're using the data access interface, which limits the methods that we can have in each data service, so we have to use some workarounds to get past the method limitations available.
Yes. Right now our plant folder is empty because we're handling a lot of our data through Apex. User controllers stays the same. We have to register the user business service add user, and then log in. We call the user's business services login user. The only thing that changed is in the user controller we call find by user or find user, and then we're going to pass that into the view so that we can use the data within the view.
Do you want to get into the JSF and JavaScript for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do the response model real fast.
Okay.
Response model is the parent class of response. So response data model is going to extend response model. I think I made this a because we can handle it with a bunch of different objects. So, for example, so on the constructor we call the super, which is the response model, and then this is going to be the custom. We're going to add the data field to it, and if we go to the REST service, you can see where we're actually implementing. So we call the response data model, and then in this case, the type is going to be a list of plants.
Right there, you just call the response model.
Yeah, here we just call the response model because we are posting. So on the gets, we're going to return a response data model because we want to be able to give them what they asked for. Whereas post, they just need to know whether it was successful or not. So both of these ones just call response models. But in the case where we're going to have to do more gets, then we're going to be able to specify what type it's going to be. So I'll go into home. So home, we have 3 tabs. We're using Bootstrap. You can see we identify the tabs here, and then within each pane we have different things. So this is where we render a table. It's just this one line right here. We have an if statement here, where if the user plants list is empty, then it's going to tell me we don't have any plants. Here's where we use Bootstrap's table. We call this UI repeat. It's basically a for each, and we call that on the user's user plants list. And then again, we have to call it again on the plant moisture data, because each plant object has a list of moisture data, and so using that, we generate table rows. Let's see, go down. This is going to be the manage. I'm trying to see where I did. Yeah, so here's another UI repeat. This one uses UI fragment, and we say if the plant is active, then we render a button success, which is the green one. And if it's not, then we render a button primary. These both have data targets of edit plant modal, which is right here. And inside the modal in the body, we have right there, it's got 2 input texts, and then there's 1 checkbox, and then I had to pass 2 hidden inputs so that we can use it in the Ajax, or not the Ajax, jQuery functions. Well, and Ajax technically. So when the document's ready, we call generate table. That's in an external file. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but basically what it does is it calls a get and it retrieves all the plant data for a user. So we call rest plant get plant plus the user ID, and then based on that, it kind of really hard to explain. There's a lot going on, but basically we calculate the minimum and the maximum data so that we can set up our range on the x-axis, and then a lot of other jargon, but here's basically where the table gets instantiated. And then we have to format the date for the graph. So if we look here, oh, never mind. We're on a user that doesn't have plants. And then this is where we actually create it. So we create type line, and then we pass it to the x-axis and the data set y-axis. All the data for the y-axis. So a little confusing. And then when the user hits save edit plant from the edit modal, we're going to retrieve the values from each of the input fields. We're going to stringify it so that we can send it, and then we call a post method to rest plant update and send it the data, and we tell it that we're sending JSON. And then based on that, the REST server should handle the rest. I think that's basically it for this page.
Awesome. Do we want to go over anything else, or is that it?
I'm trying to see what else there is to go over here. We did basically everything. The only other thing, did I already go over plant moisture? I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our wrap.
Awesome.